All right, we'll take a look at solving quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. This formula will be provided to you. It is going to be on your formula sheet. It says x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So you just need to have that in front of you, and all you're going to do is plug in numbers and put it in a calculator. The biggest thing to know is the number with p squared is going to be your a. So whatever is in front of p squared is going to be a. Whatever is in front of just p is going to be your b. And the other number by itself with no letter is your c. Sometimes they don't arrange it in order for you, so it's really important for you to realize. The one with the squared is your a. The one with just the variable is your b. And the number by itself is your c. Once you have your a, b, c, all you do is you plug it into here and you plug it into the calculator. So I'm going to write it out here. So it says x equals, and then you're going to put in a minus, parentheses, whatever b is, and what's b? Negative 7, plus or minus the square root of b, whatever b is. Anytime you put in the variable, just put it in parentheses. So b was what? Negative 7 squared minus 4, parentheses because I'm putting in a variable. What was a? A is 9. And then c, so parentheses again, c is negative 7. Okay, all over 2 times whatever a is. Again, anytime you have those variables, put parentheses. So a is 9. Now, all you're going to do is punch that into the calculator. Normally, you would have to do this by hand, okay? But because you're going to be given a calculator, you're going to punch it all in a calculator. So we're going to punch it in just like this, okay? So I'm going to go, it's a negative, then parentheses, then a negative 7, close parentheses. Okay, so you can't put plus or minus. So what it is you're going to have to do it twice. One with a plus and then one with a minus. So I'm going to do the plus one first. So plus, and then the square root, right? So I go square root. Okay, so square root is right here with that. So in order to get the blue letters, remember you have to press second, and then x squared will give me square root. Now, it's very important that you tell the calculator to do all of this inside the square root. So what it is you're going to need to put this extra parentheses right here so that the calculator knows to do the whole thing inside the square root. Okay, so actually we might be able to get away with it. Let me try it first and let's see. So if I did it without those big parentheses, if I just did negative 7, close parentheses, just as it is without the blue ones, squared, and then minus, oh, it's okay, it's all under the square root, that's cool. All right, minus 4, open parentheses, 9, close parentheses, open parentheses, negative 7, open parentheses, negative 7, close parentheses. So all that's under the square root, right? So now I'm outside the square root. So you press this arrow to get outside the square root. Now I'm going to just press enter there. And whatever answer I get, I'm going to divide by the one underneath. Because in order for me to tell the calculator to do all of this, then divide by this will be a lot of parentheses. So I'm just going to do this top part, enter, then divided by this bottom part. So divided by the bottom, and I'm going to put that in parentheses, 2 times 9. If I don't put it in parentheses, you're telling the calculator only to divide by that first number. So that's why it has to be in parentheses. So what is actually important is the bottom must be in parentheses. All right, so 2 times 9, enter. So 1.3527, and it says round to the nearest hundredth. Nearest hundredth means that there are 2 numbers after the decimal, so 1.3527. 2 numbers after the decimal, this is the cutoff. What does this number do? If it's below, if it's 4 and below, it doesn't change anything. This is your answer. If it was 5 or above, it makes this go up by 1. So one of the answers is 1.35. 1.35. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with the minus. Okay, so we're going to put the same thing in there. I wonder, can I just, there's a way, right? There's a way of coming back here and changing it. I think it's like, yes, okay. So if you go up back to if you go up using the arrow and then press enter, it'll copy the exact same thing. And when it copies the same thing, you're going to go back to, the only difference is instead of it being a plus, it needs to be a minus. And it's right outside the square root. So I'm just going to go back. Okay, and it's right outside Oh, wait. Let me do that again. Okay, so you're going to go up there, press enter. So now it's copied that exact line, right? You're going to go outside the square root and change a plus to a minus. Outside the square root, so that's outside the square root, change a plus to a minus. And then you're going to press enter. So that's with subtraction. And then now you're going to divide by the bottom. So divide, what's the bottom? 2 times 9, which is 18. But I'm going to put in parentheses 2 times 9, close parentheses. The bottom has to be in parentheses, the whole thing, or you'll get it wrong. Enter. All right, so that's what I get. So it's negative 0.57496. All right, so to the nearest hundredth, 2 numbers after the decimal, and then this number. What does this number do? If it's 4 and below, nothing. So this is my answer. If this was 5, it'll make that go up 1. So my second answer is negative 0.57. Bam. Okay, so very, very simple. So just leave the formula right in front of you. All you have to do is label A, B, C, D, and then put it in the calculator. So I'll do it again. All right, so again, for the first with the squared is your A, so that's your A. The one with the just the variable by itself is your B. Don't forget the symbol. And then the one without a variable is your C. Okay, then all you do is you write it down. Now, I'm telling you, if I'm walking around and I don't see you writing this formula down or writing the numbers inside the formula, we're going to have a very big problem. So exactly what I'm writing down, I need you to see. I see you writing that on every single question. So x equals, so minus, I see a variable, so I'm going to put parentheses. Plus or minus square root, I see a variable, so I'm going to put parentheses. Squared minus 4, I see a variable, so I'll put parentheses. And I see another one, and I'll put parentheses. All over 2a. Oh, I see a variable, so I put parentheses. Okay. So every single question, this is what you're going to do because you're going to punch this exact thing in the calculator. All right, so what's B? So B is negative 8, so that's what goes in there. What's B again? Negative 8. What's A? A is 6. What's C? C is negative 5. And what's A? A is 6. And all you do is you punch out a whole thing into the calculator, just like you see it, okay? Only you do the top, enter, and then divide by the bottom. Enter. That's the answer, okay? So you'll start with a plus, and then the second one you'll do with a minus. So starting outside here, I'm going to show you the whole calculator. Negative, and then open parentheses, negative 8, close parentheses. We'll start with the plus, so plus, square root. To get the square root, remember it's second and then squared. And then open parentheses, negative 8, close parentheses, squared, minus 4, open parentheses, 6, close parentheses, open parentheses, what's that, negative 5? Negative 5, close parentheses. All right, so that's the whole top. All right, press enter. So that's the entire top. Now you have to divide by the bottom. So divide by, and you just put the bottom in parentheses. So you just put the bottom in parentheses, or 2 times 6 is 12. It's faster, but it's fine. So put the bottom in parentheses, 2 times 6. Enter. So your first answer is that. Now, to the nearest hundredth. Keep reading it, because just in case they change it. So 1.7970. All right, to the nearest hundred is 2 numbers after the decimal. So decimal, 1, 2. This is my cutoff. Look at this number here. What does 7 do? 7 is higher than 5. It makes this go up by 1. So this is going to change to 10. So you put a 0. Because it changed to 10, you're going to add 1 there, so it's going to be an 8. So your first number is 1.80. To get your second number, you're going to do the exact same thing, only with the minus, right? So instead of punching all that in the calculator, you're just going to press the up arrow right there. Press enter. It's copied that exact thing, but the only thing we'd copied was the one with the plus. So we're going to go back to this plus right outside the square root using your arrow. There's my plus. We're going to change that plus to minus. You just go hit minus. So you see it's changed it. Press enter. So that's the whole top divided by the parentheses in the bottom. So what was it? 2 times 6? 2 times 6. Press enter. So this is your other one. So this one is negative 0.4637. And again, 2 numbers after decimal is hundredth. So if it was tenth, it would be 1 number. And what it is determined, like if I write 100, it's because they're 2 zeros. If it was the nearest tenth, 1 0. If it's the nearest thousand, 3 zeros. So the number of zeros tells you how many numbers after the decimal. So nearest hundredth is 2, which means there are 2 numbers. So the cutoff point is right here. What does that 3 do? Nothing. So this is my answer. So negative 0.46. And that's it. Every single time. All the way to 90. So this IXL should not take you a long time at all. All right, so we're just going to keep doing that over and over and over again. All right, so again, I'm just going to write this formula out with my parentheses. So x equals minus, and then whatever b is, parentheses, plus or minus, square root b. Anytime I see a variable, I just put parentheses, squared minus 4, variable, and c, a variable, all over 2 and a variable. So wherever the variables are, I've just put parentheses. And now I'm just going to fill in the numbers. So the label ABC, so A is the number in front of the letter with h squared. There's no number there, so what is it? An invisible 1. So that's A. B is the one with just the h. And C is the number by itself. All right, once you label A, B, C, you're going to plug in the numbers. So my first letter is B. What's B? B is negative 8. All right, then my second letter here is also B, so that's negative 8. Then it's A is 1. Then it's C is negative 1. Then it's A in the bottom, which is 1. Once I have all my numbers filled out, I just take my calculator and plug that in. So negative, parentheses, negative 8, close parentheses, and then we'll start with the plus, and then when we finish with the plus, we'll come back and change it to a minus. Then square root, so it's second x squared, then open parentheses, negative 8, close parentheses, squared. Make sure you're typing in exactly as you're reading it, okay? So I'm on 8 squared minus, then 4, then open parentheses, 1, close parentheses, then open parentheses, negative 1, close parentheses, and that's my whole top, right? So remember, you do your whole top, so press enter, then divided by your bottom in parentheses. So 2 times 1, which is 2, but I'll just do it here because I don't trust you multiplying without the calculator right now. Press enter. So the first answer is 8.1231. So again, round it to the nearest what? 100th. 100 has 2 zeros, so 2 numbers after the decimal. So 2 numbers after decimal, that's my cutoff. So then look at this number. What does 3 do? Nothing. So this is my answer. So my first answer is 8.12. Then we're going to do the same thing, only we're going to change the plus to a minus. And because we don't have to type this up again, we're just going to go up arrow, up arrow, up arrow to the long thing we did because we need to change that plus. Press enter, it'll copy it for you, and then you're going to go back outside the square root, and we're going to change that plus to a minus. So just hit minus, not negative, but minus. Press enter. So that's my whole top, right? Divided by my bottom, so divided by my bottom, which is 2 times 1 in parentheses, 2 times 1. Press enter. Bam. So that's my second answer. So my second answer is negative 0.1231. 2 numbers after, because it's the nearest 100, so 2 numbers after, and then look at this one. What does 3 do? Because it's less than 5, it's 4, 3, 2, 1, or 0, this stays the same. So remember, if it was 5 or more, it changes that number by 1. So this is going to be negative 0.12. Bam. All right, so again, I'm going to do the exact same thing over and over again. I'm just teaching you how to plug this into the quadratic formula. So copy this again. X equals, just every time you see a letter, you're going to put parentheses. So I see a letter, plus or minus, square root. I see a letter, parentheses, squared, minus 4, and then I see 2 letters, so 2 parentheses. All over 2, and I see another letter. Bam. Once I copy that down, I label A, B, C, D. So again, sometimes these numbers, they're not in order. Sometimes they can write 3G, plus 7g squared minus 4 equals 0. Or sometimes they can write 3g plus 7g squared equals 4, and you would have to make it look like it equals 0. So you'd have to move this to the other side. So it would become minus 4. Okay, so it must look like this in order to just plug it into the formula. So sometimes they'll kind of move the 4 to the other side, and you have to move it back, okay? So keep that in mind. It has to go 2, the exponents have to go 2, 1, and nothing, okay? All right, so again, the one with the 2 is A, the one with the 1 is B, and the 1 by itself is C. In fact, I know for a fact on the test they're going to put the numbers on both sides. You have to bring everything to the left and make it equal to 0. All right, let's plug in the numbers. So first letter is B. B is 3 in this case. Second letter is also B. That's 3. Next letter is A, 7. Next letter is C, so negative 4. Next letter is A, and that's 7. Then grab your calculator and let's punch that all in. So just press clear. And we're punching all of this in. So it starts negative, then parentheses, open parentheses, positive 3, close parentheses. We're doing the plus 1 first. We'll come back and change it to minus. The square root, which is second, squared, and then parentheses, 3, squared, close parentheses, squared, minus 4, open parentheses, 7, close parentheses, open parentheses, negative 4, close parentheses. That's the whole top. You press enter on the whole top. Divided by the bottom. The bottom is 2 times 7, which is 14, but I don't trust you. Just put it in parentheses, 2 times 7. So that's my first one. 2 numbers after the decimals, so that will be that. Look at that next number. What's the 1 going to do? Nothing. So the answer is going to be 0.57 because it's less than 5. So the first answer is 0.57. All right, then you're going to go up. You're going to press copy. So you press enter. And we're going to go change that plus to a minus. So we're going to go back outside the square root right there. There's a plus. Change that to a minus. Press enter. So that's the whole top. Divided by the bottom, which is 2 times 7, which is 14, but I'll just do it in the calculator. Don't forget your parentheses around the whole bottom. 2 times 7, press enter. So it's negative 1. So that one is just negative 1. Super. Okay, press clear. Now you're ready for the next question. All right, instead of me doing this over and over and over again, what I'm going to do is just erase the numbers because that's all that's really changing. Okay, I'm not even going to change A, B, C, D. So you label A, B, C, D, you rewrite this whole formula with parentheses. Now get used to doing it because if you do it individually, it's going to stick in your brain. I've done this for years, so it's already in my brain. I even know the formula without a formula sheet. Okay, so make sure that you're doing this every single time. Write this all out. Okay, so first one is B. B is 7. Next one, I want to actually do that in black. B is 7. Next one is 7 again. Next one is A. A is 7. Next one is C. Oh, look at this. Oh, so hold on. This is good. This is good. So remember, the one with the squared is your A. The one with just the letter by itself is your B. And the number by itself is your C, but there's no number. So what is the value of something that's not there? 0. So your C is 0. So that's good. Actually, the question changed a bit. That's good. All right. So for A is 7, C is 0. And A is 7. All right, then punch that whole thing in your calculator. So we're going to go negative, open parentheses, 7, close parentheses. We're going to do the plus first. Square root, open parentheses, 7, close parentheses, squared, minus 4, open parentheses, 7, close parentheses, open parentheses, 0, close parentheses. So that's the whole top. Press enter. Divided by the bottom, which is 2 times 7, which is 14, but we don't trust, so 2 times 7, all in parentheses, equals. So the first one is 0. Then we're going to do the second one. We're going to go back to the first one because you're going to type the same thing only with a minus, and we're going to copy it, so press enter. Then go outside the square root, and we're changing that plus to a minus. Press enter. That's the top. Divided by the bottom, which is 2 times 7, which is 14. 2 times 7, close parentheses. It's -1, so the bottom is -1. Bam. All right, we're going to do the same thing again. This is good. So yeah, so remember what I said. So sometimes they're going to change the question for you. That's why you have to know that A goes with the one with the squared, B goes with the one with the variable by itself, and C is just the number. So A is the number with the squared. There's no number there, so what is it? An invisible 1. So that's my A. B is the one with the variable by itself. There's nothing there. So what is B equal to if there's nothing there? B is equal to 0. And C is the number by itself. C is the number by itself, C. So just be careful because you see how they change it, right? Now you're just going to plug in the numbers in here. So first one is B. B is 0. Next one is also B, 0. Next one is A. A is 1. And next one is C, which is -6. And the one here is A, which is 1. Plug that in the calculator. So clear. We have negative, open parentheses, 0, close parentheses, plus, and we'll come back and change that to a minus on the second one. Square root, open parentheses, 0, close parentheses, squared, -4, open parentheses, 1, close parentheses, open parentheses, -6, close parentheses, enter. That's your whole top divided by the bottom, which is 2 times 1, which is 2, but I don't trust us, so let's put in parentheses 2 times 1. Close parentheses, so that's the first one. 2 numbers after the decimal, then look at that third number. What does a 9 do? So that 9 is higher than 5, is 5 and above, so it makes it go up by 1. So that 4 is going to change to what? 5. So 2.45. 2.45 is your first answer. To get your second answer, we're going to go up and go press enter. So we've copied it, and we're just changing the plus to a minus. So we're going to go back outside the square root. Go back outside the square root, and we're changing that to a minus. Press enter, that's the top, divided by the bottom, which is 2 times 1, which is 2, but we're going to put in parentheses 2 times 1 in parentheses. So that second one is that. So again, we're going to cover that. 2 numbers after decimal. What does the third number do? It's a 9, so it's going to make this go up by 1. So it's -2.45. So -2.45. Bam. All right. So every single time you're going to copy this down. Every single time, every single question. Now we have, it's back to regular. The one with squared is A. So that's my A. The one with the J is B. And the one by itself is C. So now we're just plugging that in. So first one is B. B is 3. B is 3. A is 9. C is -1. A is 9. And we're just hitting that in the calculator. So clear. All right, so negative, open parentheses, 3, close parentheses, plus the square root. Oh, wait, whoa, what did I just do? Delete. Okay, so plus the square root, second square root. Okay, I'd hit the wrong one. Open parentheses, 3, close parentheses, squared, -4, open parentheses, 9, close parentheses, open parentheses, -1, close parentheses, that's the top. Divided by the bottom, in parentheses, 2 times 9. Which is 18. So that's my first answer. 2 numbers after the decimal. Look at the third one. What does 6 do? It makes it go up because it's 5 and above. So it's going to make 0 go up to what? 1. So 0.21 is my first answer. All right, to get my second answer, do the same thing with just the subtraction. So go up, copy it by pressing enter. Go outside the square root with the arrow, left arrow. And you're going to change that plus to a minus. Press enter. So again, that's the top. Divided by 18, or in parentheses, 2 times 9. All right, 2 numbers after the decimal, and then 9. What does 9 do? 9 is going to make that go up by 1, so it goes up to, what, a 4. So negative 0.54. All right. This is the same ABC, so I already have everything labeled. Just plugging in the numbers. So B is, I can't see, B is what, 5? B is 5. A is 2. C is -8. A is 2. All right, punching that in the calculator. Press clear. Punching that in the calculator. Negative, open parentheses, 5, close parentheses, plus square root, open parentheses, 5, close parentheses, squared, minus Oh, I guess I could even copy it from the last question, just keep pressing enter. Minus 4, open parentheses 2, close parentheses, negative 8. Oh, I didn't open parentheses. Open parentheses, negative 8, close parentheses. That's the top, divided by the bottom in parentheses. 2 times 2 is 4. But I'm going to do it in the calculator. 2 times 2, all in parentheses. It has to be in parentheses or the answer is going to be wrong. Then you're going to take the two numbers because it's nearest hundredth. All right, and then that 2 with that 8, what is that 8 going to do? The 8's going to make it go up by 1. So it goes up by 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. So your first answer is 1.11. Okay. Your second answer is going to be the same thing, only instead of a plus, it's with a minus. So press enter. Go back outside. Change that to a minus. Press enter. That's the top divided by the bottom, which is 4. Or in parentheses, 2 times 2. That's going to give me that. 2 numbers after the decimal. And then look at that number. What's that going to do? So an 8 is going to make it go up by 1. So it'll be negative 3.61. Negative 3.61. Perfect. This one's normal, so everything's already labeled for me because it goes 2, the powers go 2, 1, and nothing. So all we're going to do is put it into the calculator. So my B is negative 9. My B is negative 9. My A is negative 6. And my C is 4. And my A is negative 6. Okay. All right, now I'm actually going to be like super lazy. And I'm going to go back up here. Okay, the one with the plus, I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to go change all the numbers. Oh, but it's not going to work because if it has a minus, it's going to be too much. Like if I do like this one, it will be minus negative 9. But then it's taking up too much space. Okay, so it's not going to work. I have to type it in. I was trying to give you a shortcut. All right, so negative, open parentheses, negative 9, close parentheses, plus square root of open parentheses, negative 9, close parentheses, squared, minus 4, open parentheses, negative 6, close parentheses, open parentheses, 4, close parentheses. That's the top, divided by the bottom with 2 times negative 6, which is negative 12, but put in a calculator, 2 times negative 6, close parentheses, all in parentheses on the bottom. So that's your first answer. So 2 numbers. Look at that third one. What's the 8 going to do? It's going to make it go up by 1, so it'll be 6. So negative 1.86 is your first answer. All right, then go back and copy that. Press enter. Change the plus to a minus. Change the plus to a minus because we have two answers. So that's going to be minus. Press enter. That's the top divided by the bottom, which is negative 12 or 2 times negative 6. That's the bottom. 2 numbers because it's nearest hundredth. What does the 8 do? It's going to make it go up by 1, so it's going to be 0.36. All right, this is in standard form. It goes squared, 1, and then nothing. So everything is already labeled for me. So all I have to do is change my numbers. So our first one is B, which is 4. Next one is B, which is 4. Then A, which is 4. Then C, which is 1. Then A, which is 4. All right, and we're going to put that in the calculator. So minus, open parentheses, 4, close parentheses, plus square root. So square root, open parentheses, 4, close parentheses, squared, minus 4, open parentheses, 4, close parentheses, open parentheses, 1, close parentheses. That's the top divided by the bottom, which is all in parentheses, 2 times 4, which is 8. It's going to give me negative 0.5, so there's nothing to round there because it needs 2 numbers after decimal. Then we're going to copy that, change the positive to a negative, and you're going to notice that you're going to get faster, which is the whole point. So that's the whole top divided by the bottom, which is 8, or 2 times 4 in parentheses, and that's negative 0.5. If it's the same answer, you don't have to put it in twice, okay? All right, now the question has changed a little bit because it doesn't go 2, 1, then nothing, right? It goes 2, 1. So what are we missing? We're missing our C, right? So this is my A, this is my B, and I'm missing my C. So if it's not there, it's what? 0. All right, fill it in. So B is 4, B is 4, A is 6, C is 0. And what's on the bottom? A is 6. All right, punch all that in. So it goes negative, open parentheses, 4, close parentheses, plus square root, open parentheses, 4, close parentheses, squared, minus 4, open parentheses, 6, close parentheses, open parentheses, 0, close parentheses. All of that, the top divided by the bottom, which is in parentheses 2 times 6, close parentheses, 0. So my first answer is 0. My second answer is the same thing, only changing that minus to a plus. So you go up, press enter, it copies it. Then you go back outside the square root, and you change that to a minus, press enter. That's the top divided by the bottom, which is in parentheses 2 times 6. Two numbers after the decimal, then look at the next one. What's the 6 going to do? It's going to make it go up by 1 to what? 7. So negative 0.67. Fantastic. All right, we're back to looking the same, so we're back to C being there. All right, so we're just going to punch it in, and I'm just going to keep doing it because I want to see if the question changes to the ones that I need you to see too. So the first one is B, which is negative. Oh, no, that's not negative. That's plus 2. B is 2. A is... Okay, so it's a negative y squared. What's the number next to the y squared? It's a negative 1, right? Because it's negative invisible 1. So negative 1. C is negative 1, and A was negative 1. All right, let's punch that in. So negative, open parentheses, 2, close parentheses, plus square root, open parentheses, 2, close parentheses, squared, minus 4, open parentheses, negative 1, close parentheses, open parentheses, negative 1, close parentheses, enter. So that's my whole top, divided by my bottom, which is negative 2, which is going to give me positive 1, but just do it with the calculator, in parentheses 2 times negative 1. So my first answer is 1. My second answer is you go back, press enter, go back and change that plus to a minus. Press enter, so that's my top, divided by my bottom, 2 times, in parentheses, 2 times negative 1, close parentheses. So that's 1. So my second answer is 1. When you have the same answer twice, you don't need to write it out. Just one time is fine. Again, what are we missing here? All right, so you have to go 2, 1, and then no variable. So 2, 1, and then no variable. So I'm missing C. So 2, the one with the squared is A, the one with the 1 is B, and C, if we're missing it, has to be equal to 0. All right, so let's plug in the numbers. B is the first one, so 4. B is the first, another one, 4. A, which is 4. C, which is 0. All over 2A, A is 4. And we're going to plug that into the calculator. So negative, open parentheses, 4, close parentheses, plus square root, open parentheses, 4, close parentheses, squared, minus 4, open parentheses, 4, close parentheses, open parentheses, 0, close parentheses. That's my top, divided by my bottom in parentheses, which is 2 times 4, which gives me 0. Same thing, only with a minus, so go up there, press enter, and then go change that plus outside to a minus. Press enter, that's my top, divided by the bottom, which is 2 times 4, which is 8. Negative 8 divided by 8 is negative 1, but just go ahead and put in the calculator, 2 times 4, negative 1. All right, they put C back. So A, B, C. So first one is B, which is 9, then A, which is negative 3, then C, which is negative 5, and then A, which is negative 3. Put that in the calculator exactly how you see it. Exactly how you see it, negative 5. That's the top, press enter. Divided by the bottom in parentheses 2 times negative 3, close parentheses. So that's my first one. 2 numbers after decimal. Look at the third one. What is the 6 going to do? It's going to make that go up by 1, so it's going to be 0.74. Then to get my second one, go up, press enter, then come change the outside from a plus to a minus. Press enter, so that's my top, divided by, don't forget to divide by the bottom, in parentheses 2 times negative 3. All right, two numbers. What's the 3 going to do? Nothing. So it's going to be 2.26. Brilliant. All right, so again, they're missing a number, right? So we got to figure out which one it is. So again, A is the one with the squared term. B is the one with just the variable, that's B, and C is in there, so C has to be equal to 0. Fill in the numbers. First one is B. B is -9. B again, -9. A is next, 7. C is not there, which is 0. A is just 7. Plug that in the calculator, so just like you see it with the parentheses on all the numbers. Square root, -9 squared minus 4, open parenthesis 7, close parenthesis, open parenthesis 0, close parenthesis. That's the top, divided by the bottom, which is 14, or in parentheses 2 times 7. Don't forget to open and close the parentheses on the bottom. All right, two numbers, that number 5, what's that going to do? 5 is going to make it up. Remember, 5 and above makes it go up, so that's going to be 1.29. And then, oh, the order doesn't matter there. We're going to go back up here. We're going to copy it. We're going to go outside and change that plus to what? To a minus. So minus, press enter, that's the top, divided by the bottom in parentheses, 2 times 7, close parentheses, enter, 0. Okay, we're back to having a C. So A, B, and then C. So remember, it has to go squared, power of 1, and then no variable. All right, and then we're just going to punch in the numbers. So we're going to have, what's B? B is 3. A is -9. C is 3. A is -9. All right, punching in like you see it. Negative parentheses 3 plus square root, parentheses 3 squared minus 4, open parentheses, -9, close parentheses, open parentheses 3. That's the top, divided by the bottom in parentheses, 2 times -9, close parentheses. So my first answer is that. Two numbers, so -0.43. What's the 4 going to do? Nothing. So it's -0.43. Then you're going to go copy the same thing and change it into a minus. So go copy the same thing and change that plus to a minus. Press enter, that's the top, divided by the bottom, 2 times -9. All right, two numbers. Look at the third number. What does the 7 do? It's going to make it go up by 1 to what? 7. So 0.77. 0.77. All right, and over and over and over again. All right, so again, the most important thing to realize is sometimes they'll give you this question, but not like that. They're going to say -4j equals -4j plus 1. And you have to always make it look like this. You have to make it look like equals 0. There can be nothing on the right side. So that means you move this across the river. Oh, that's squared. It's going to be -4j. A minus becomes what? A positive 4j. You need to move this across the river. The positive becomes what? -1. And now equals nothing on the right side. So you have to make it always look like this. It has to go squared, then not 1, then nothing. Okay? Over and over again. And that's pretty much how you use the quadratic formula. So this works on every single one. I'm showing you this because it works on everything. And then I'm going to show you some shortcuts or some faster ways of actually doing this question, especially if they don't give you a calculator. So if they don't give you a calculator, you know you have to do all of this by hand. I mean, let me actually do one of these by hand. And the problem with doing this by hand is that you guys make a lot of mistakes, okay? So I'm going to actually do this one by hand. So if you do need to learn the shortcuts because, again, if they don't give you a calculator, part of the EOC is no calculator. So that's A, B, and C. All right, let's fill it in. So B is 4. B is 4, A is -4, and C is -1. And then A is -4. So no calculator, okay? You would have to do this by hand using order of operations. So we're going to work this out. So we're going to have -4, because negative and a positive, plus or minus the square root of, what's 4 squared? 4 times 4 is 16, okay? Then you have to do all of this. So you have -4 times -4 is positive 16. Positive 16 times -1 is -16. So you have that. All over 2 times -4, which is going to give me -8. Okay. Then you keep going. Negative 4 plus or minus. Then you have the square root. What's 16 minus 16? 0. Okay? Then all of that divided by negative 8. What's the square root of 0? 0. So you're going to have negative 4 plus or minus 0 over negative 8. When you add any or subtract anything to 0, what are you going to get? The same thing. So this is just going to be negative 4 over negative 8. And then negative divided by negative is positive. So it's going to be 4 over 8. And then simplify 4 over 8. What goes into 4 and 8? 4 one time and 4 into that 2 times. So your answer is a half, which is 0.5. So write your answers integers proper in fraction, so you can write it as a fraction. So 1 over 2. Okay, so you see, you can get a question like that, and you have to do it by hand. So it's very, very important that you also learn the shortcuts. Oh, good, the question has changed. Wonderful. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. You see how it's not equal 0? You have to make it equal 0. All right, so very, 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 very important. So we take this to the other side. Here's my river. It's going to become what? Minus. So you have 8v squared minus 8v. And is there anything left here? No, so that's 0. Now you label your a, b, c. So a is with the squared, so that's a. B is with just the v. And there's no c, so c equals 0. Okay, then you plug it in. So the b is negative 7. B is negative 7. A is 8. C is 0. A is 8. And again, I'm going to do this one by hand because you need to know how to do it both ways. So equals. Negative times a negative is a positive 7 plus or minus square root. Negative 7 squared. So negative 7 times negative 7 is positive 49. Minus 4 times 8 is 32. 32 times 0. So anything times 0 is what? 0. So minus 0. All over 2 times 8, which is 16. Equals 7 plus or minus 49 minus 0 is what? 49 over 16. All right. What's the square root of 49? 7. So you have 7 plus or minus 7 over 16. So now we do the top. Remember, this is now where we're doing the calculus. 7 plus 7. 7 plus 7 is 14 over 16. And then the bottom, 7 minus 7 is 0. So, or 0 over 16. Now let's simplify. What goes into 14 and 16? Well, 2 goes into both. 2 goes 7 times and 2 goes 8 times. And here, 0 divided by 16 is going to be 0. Okay, so 7 over 8 or 0. 7 over 8, 7 over 8 or 0. Okay, so this is how you do it without a calculator. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do a few because honestly, they're sometimes not going to give you a calculator. So I need to make sure that you can do that too. So let's do it without a calculator. All right, so remember you have to make it look like equals 0. So if I didn't take that negative 1 to the other side, what's that going to become? Positive 1. So I have negative 8u squared plus 1 equals 0 because there's nothing left on that side. All right, remember the 1 with the squared is your a. The 1 with just the u by itself, it's not there. So if it's not there, what is that? 0. So b is equal to 0. And the number by itself with no variable is your c. All right, let's plug everything in. So b is 0. B is 0. A is negative 8. And c is 1. And then a is negative 8. All right, so x equals negative 0, which is 0, plus or minus square root. 0 squared is 0. All right, negative 4 times negative 8. Negative and negative is a positive, 32. 32 times 1 is 32, so positive 32. All over 2 times negative 8. Positive times a negative is a negative. 2 times 8 is 16. All right, if it's 0, nothing's going to happen, so I'm just going to have plus or minus the square root of 0 plus 32, which is what? 32, all over negative 16. So my first one is going to be radical 32 over 6, over what, sorry, why that was negative 16. Over negative 16, my bad, negative 16. I'm like tripping. Negative 16. And my second one, so or is minus radical 32 over negative 16. All right, so then you have to simplify this, right? Write your answers in simplest form. You have to simplify this. So can we break 32 down? Because this is radicals now. And you know what? This is going to be on your test, so it's very important. 2 goes into 32 how many times? 16. 2 goes into 16 how many times? 8. 2 goes into 8 how many times? 4. 2 goes into 4 2 times. So this radical 32 is really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 2s. Why am I writing 5? I am really tripping. I must be tired of talking. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then how do I make my books? There's a book, and there's a book. So you have 2 times 2, which is what? 4. So you have 4 radical 2. So I can rewrite anywhere I see radical 32 as 4 radical 2. So I'm just going to delete that and put a 4 outside. Delete that, and negative 4. Okay. Once this is there, when you have a fraction, you have to simplify, right? So what goes into 4 and 16? 4. How many times does 4 go into 4? 1 time. How many times does it go in 16? 4 times. Same thing here. 1 time, 4 times. So this one is radical 2, and it's a negative. So negative radical 2 over 4. Or this one, which is positive, radical 2 over 4. All right, man. All right, so let's write that down. Negative radical. Oh, I can't write a radical. All right, so let me put in the calculator then. I guess that one would be a calculator question because I can't put it doesn't give me the option to put radical. So I'll just do it in the calculator. Radical 2 enter divided by 4 equals. So 2 numbers at decimal. What does a 3 do? Nothing. So 0.35. So 0.35. And this is the same thing, only it's positive. So 0.35. Bam. Okay. So it's very important that you know that you could be asked to do this in without a calculator, and if they do, you'd have to get as far as even doing this. You have to know how to simplify radicals in order to get that question right. And now we're at 91.